Welcome to Math TV with Professor V. This is a part 2 video on determining algebraically if a function is even, odd, or neither. And I had a request from one of my YouTube viewers out there to do more examples on this topic, so here you go. If you need a quick recap for our definition of an odd function and an even function, it's as follows. You always replace x with negative x into the function. And if after cleaning up, f of negative x is equal to f of x, the original function, then we say that it is even. Next, if you replace x with negative x, and after cleaning up, you're left with the opposite of your original function, then we say it is odd. If one of these two things doesn't happen, then that's the neither case, okay? And we'll look at a few of those. If a function is even, it has symmetry with respect to the y-axis. And if a function is odd, it has symmetry with respect to the origin. So another way that you can test whether a function is even, odd, or neither is by looking at its graph and determining graphically. But in this video, we're only going to focus on testing algebraically, not using the graphs and not using symmetry. If you want me to do another video on that, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to do it. And then you might be saying, wait a minute, why aren't you talking about, symmetry with respect to the x-axis? Well, because we're focusing here on functions, and functions cannot have symmetry with respect to the x-axis. Then they would fail the vertical line test and not be functions, okay? Anyways, moving on, the examples I wanted to look at that were requested involve rational exponents on variables. Rational meaning like a fraction on the exponent. So let's just start with some basic ideas first. If you're testing whether a radical function is even, odd, or neither, what do you do? So starting off, you always replace x with negative x. And so here I would have square root of negative x. Now, to further simplify, you would try to break up the negative underneath the radical from the x, and I would rewrite it as radical negative 1 times x, and then rewrite this as square root of negative 1 times square root of x. But at this point, I'm stuck because the square root of negative 1 is not a real number. That is our imaginary unit I, which you might study later on, but basically we can't further simplify from here. And so you really can just stop once you notice you have a negative in front of your variable and the index of your radical is even. The index is this little number here. We don't write it when we take a square root, but there's a 2 there. And so anytime you have an even number, you are stuck and nothing can happen. Now, what if instead we have over here, notice, I want to use the laser pointer and I can't find it here. Say we have an odd index. Okay, that we can further simplify. So g of negative x is going to be the cube root of negative x, like that. And then same process, you break up the negative 1 and the x. So I can write this as cube root of negative 1 times cube root of x. And cube root of negative 1, that does simplify to negative 1 times the cube root of x. And look at what we have. So g of x originally was cube root of x. That's right here. I have negative 1 times the cube root of x, so this is negative g of x. And I just showed that g of negative x is equal to negative g of x. So this is an odd function. This one here is neither. So do you want a little rule that you can use? Here's a rule. Okay, if you have f of x equals nth root of x and n is even, then we say f of x is neither, it's not even or odd. And if n is odd, then f of x is odd. Okay, good. Good. So let's use that idea now to work with more complicated examples. So the directions say something like determine algebraically whether the given function is even, odd, or neither. And we have g of x equals 3x to the 2/3. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to substitute in negative x for x. So I have 3 times negative x to the 2/3. Now you can leave the exponent like this and just clean it up if you feel comfortable. But if not, what I'll do is rewrite it using radicals. So if you have something raised to the 2/3 power, whatever the denominator is, that's the root that you're taking. So we have cube root of negative x. And then you see how this numerator is a 2. This whole thing gets squared. Okay, very good. Now let's see what to do from here. So I have 3 times this cube root of negative x. We just simplified it a second ago. Do you remember what happened? Here we had cube root of negative x. And anytime this is an odd number, that negative can come out. The negative can come out. You don't have to show all these steps right here. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take that negative out and write it as negative cube root of x squared. Do you see what I just did? I'll remind you. This negative came out. Why am I allowed to do that? Because this index here is odd. So it can come out. If that was an even number, I'd be stuck. Okay, now let's look at what to do from here. I have everything in the parentheses being raised to the 2nd power, so it's getting squared. So now I'm left with, let's just keep rewriting that 3 out in the front. And then I have this negative getting squared, which is going to make it positive. And then I have cube root of x squared. And then I can just rewrite this as 3x to the 2/3, going back to rational exponents, and compare with what I started with. Oh my goodness, that's exactly g of x. So what would you say about this function g of x? By definition, it's even. Okay, 3x to the 2/3 is even. All right, let's try another example. Here, h of x equals 7x to the 3/5. So again, to start off, I'm going to substitute in negative x for x. This is 7 times negative x to the 3/5. I can rewrite this as 7 times the 5th root of negative x cubed. Since this is an odd number and I have a negative, it can come outside. So this is 7 times negative 5th root of x cubed. Do you see what just happened? Oh, good. Now I distribute this exponent through to the -1 and to the radical. Well, -1 cubed stays -1. So this is 7 times -1 times 5th root of x cubed. And I can rewrite this as -7x to the 3/5. Now compare what we're left with our original function. You see how all we have is an extra negative outside of what we were originally given? Good. So that means h of x is odd. Very nice. Okay, good. Let's look at some more examples. Here we have a cute little polynomial, g of x, which is 1 minus x plus x cubed. So let's apply our definition. G of negative x would be 1. You see how this already has a minus sign in the front? That's fine. You're going to add another one because you're still replacing x with negative x. Plus negative x cubed. So this is 1 plus x minus x cubed. How do I know it becomes a negative? Because anytime I raise it to an odd power, the negative stays. Okay, well, let's compare with our original function g of x. Is this exactly the same? No. This x changed signs and the x cubed changed signs. So I know that it's not even because it's not the same as the original. Is it odd? If it was odd, it should equal the opposite of g of x after we simplify. What's the opposite of g of x? It would be the opposite of 1 minus x plus x cubed, which would be negative 1 plus x minus x cubed. Is that what we had? No, because look, we had a positive one, not a negative one. Oh, so that means it's also not odd. So our function is neither. All right, good. I think I had one more for you. There it is. F of x equals x over 1 plus x squared. Do you want to pause the video, try it on your own? Okay, good. So f of negative x is negative x over 1 plus negative x quantity squared. I can't do anything with the negative x in the numerator, but look, in the denominator, if I square negative x, it's going to become positive x squared. And looking at this, what I'm left with, compared with the original, I'm noticing the only thing that's different is I have a negative in front of the x in the numerator. And keep in mind this basic fact when you're working with rational functions, or if you have a fraction with a negative. Negative a over b is the same as negative a over b, which is also the same as a over negative b. We usually don't write a over negative b though. It's not considered as simplified as possible. You don't want to leave negatives in the denominator for your final answer. So usually we'll put them in the numerator or outside the whole thing. However, it's not equal to negative a over negative b, because when you have a negative in the numerator and denominator, they both cancel out and you just have a over b, okay? So when you have a negative in a fraction, you got to decide, is it going to be in the top or outside, but not both, okay? Why am I telling you this? Because now we can move this negative outside, and I want to do that just so I can kind of see more clearly what I'm working with. Look at this, x plus 1 over x squared. Oh me, oh my, that is f of x, right here, that whole thing, the whole thing. Shall I highlight? X over 1 plus x squared, x over 1 plus x squared. So this is negative or opposite of f of x. And by definition, that means f of x is odd. Okay, very good. Later, you'll learn trigonometric functions, but just in case you wanted to know, f of x equals sine of x, that's odd. F of x equals tangent x, that's also odd. F of x equals cosecant x is odd. F of x equals cotangent x is odd. The only even trig functions are cosine x and its reciprocal function secant x. Okay, and you'll study this further, but just in case for some reason you've got trig mixed into your homework assignment, you would know how to deal with it. So like if you were given f of negative x is sine of negative x like this, you would write it as negative sine x. You could pull the negative outside. And similarly, f of negative x, if you have cosine of negative x, since it's even, it just gets absorbed and you dump it, etc. Okay? Very good. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. You could check out the rest of my playlists. They're organized by course. So I have pre-calc, calc 1, 2, 3, etc. And you can also catch me on Instagram and TikTok at Math TV with Professor V. If you want access to exclusive content, or if you just want to support my channel, join my Patreon. The link is in the description. I love you all. I'll be back soon.